rough weekend for BTC and these altcoins. There's a proper bleed out going down at the moment. I see some of these alts are hitting some very important levels at the moment. So guys, I'm going to talk about this current dump today. I'm going to talk about when I think it can potentially reverse for us. And obviously, I've got you covered on some massive levels on some of these altcoins. And I did catch the exact bottom of PopCat once again. So we got lots to talk about here today. Let's get right into it. And remember, hit that like button, hit the bell, hit the subscribe. Ray is here. He's alive. He's actually coming 8th in the Zoomex competition at the moment. He's grinding it out in spite of the mess at the moment.
I'm coming.
And I just want to say, PopCat is a very good kitty. So we're going to talk about PopCat in a second. Look at this absolute disgusting mess here. Banter Bubbles, absolute dog show here. Look at Poppies, minus 10% down. I was sweating that one out. I'm going to take you through that exact situation. There's pain all over the place. I see IMX is green today, but I mean, it's expected. The IMX got a Wells notice last week, so it's absolutely dumb. So it makes sense that there was a bit of a bounce there on IMX, but everything else a little bit messy. And if you've been trading altcoins, you're sitting in positions like I have been, you've been sweating, okay? Squeaky bum time all day long, and a couple of stops been hit. But remember, these red days give us these opportunities. We get supreme entries when the market is falling over like this. We need to be measured and controlled here. We zoom out, we look at big areas, and then we make proper decisions on these levels. So we're going to cover a ton of levels for you guys. Just before we get into it, I've got INJ, I've got Arweave, I've got Solana, I've got you covered on PopCat, Peppy, pretty much everything. Rune as well. I mean, so many tokens, guys. Near I even got for you guys. So make sure you are sticking around. Let's get into the basics first, and let's talk BTC. So interesting things happening here on the 4 hour on BTC. The most notable for me is we had this dip this weekend. Look at this. We dumped into our anchored VWAP from the absolute lows in October. So this is a reminder again, after we eventually find the lows of our November dump. Now remember, this is a typical process here. August dump, September dump, October dump, November dump. Okay, it seems to be a simple process here in crypto at the beginning of every month. Now, when we eventually get our bottom, and we're not confirmed when it is, we're going to drop an anchored VWAP at those lows, and we're going to use that as support going up along the way. So lots of patience needed here. But let's talk about what is going on. So the first ping, anchored VWAP, pinged at 67,500. Nice little level for us there on the 4 hour chart. You can see we did have some horizontal tie-in as well in this region. So it did make sense that we do get some kind of reaction there. The big one that I've got my eyes on, 67K. And then a little bit lower down, we're watching 65,500. So these are the ones I'm concerned about in the next 24 hours to the downside. Now, what happens after this big dump we've had now this weekend? What if there is a little bit of momentum now and we start pushing higher? Well, the first zone that I'm going to be watching, and I'm currently in a BTC long, I'm going to be taking profit here, 69,400, or just under this region over here. This is my 50 on the 4 hour MA that I'm watching, tied in with some horizontals as well. So call it 69,300. That is where I'm going to jump out. If we do get some kind of push here, that is most likely a nice rejection region. That could be a nice little short zone for us as well. If we do start pushing higher, then we're just going to be watching this trend. And for me, that's going to be just above 70,000. So not getting too excited here. We've got upside in the way, that's 69.3. Then we've got trend just above 70K. So lots of work to do to the upside. So I think for now, the next 24 hours, this is really what we want to pay attention to. If we do start blowing through this trend and things like that, then we deal with it. Okay, there's going to be a lot of momentum. If any of you are sitting in some altcoin positions at the moment, remember, I'm going to show you some TP zones on one or two of them today. Try and have a balanced plan here where you take profit and close some of your trades in full, and then others maybe have a go and leave them open, and then if there is a bit more momentum, you can always add and grow those positions. So just make sure you have a strategy now. If you are sitting in 2 or 3 trades, you don't want to round trip all of them, but you also don't want to close all of them in case there is a further pump. And Ivan says, portfolio destroyed despite I am buying. Guys, I mean, that's absolute absolute carnage this weekend, and I try not to look at the charts too much on a Saturday and a Sunday, but fuck me. I mean, when you open your portfolio and everything is just dropping red, I suppose, look, it's painful, but I suppose I do get excited in these moments because I know I can smell the opportunity. And you Sniper Club members, I was in those chats earlier today, just dumping charts for you guys and showing you some hot zones. So let's take a look at what is potentially causing issues here at the moment. So 𝗙𝗢𝗟𝗪𝗓 just sums up what is happening this week. Now we know we've got a massive week ahead. We've got the US presidential elections. I think this trumps, no pun intended, but this trumps any other news this week as to what is going on. Then we got the ISM manufacturing, but the most important, we got the Fed interest rate decision. Well, the second most important on Thursday is the Fed interest rate decision. And 𝗕𝗟𝗟𝗪𝗓 says a surprise 50 basis point cut coming this week would not be a surprise to him. Now, we have seen the S&P falling over. We've seen the crypto markets looking miserable. We got gold falling over. Maybe a little.
Maybe.
That is exactly why I'm wearing my bullish hat. Okay, remember, when the market is red like this, we got to start looking bullish, because when it's red like this, if we've missed our shorts when we were bearish last week, well, now we're waiting for our longs and dropping into these big zones. So what else is going down here? Well, this is great for Miles. Oh, let's get this thing up. Wait, Miles dropped a great tweet here. He says, it's crazy how correlated the Bitcoin price action is to Trump's election odds. Now, maybe it really is as simple as a Trump win is BTC pump, Kamala win BTC dump. I think so. But I think what we're witnessing at the moment is major de-risking here, because I'm going to show you some of the drama out there between the results and the polls floating around. And I think the market is very concerned as to what is going on. And the market likes certainty. And right now, there is zero certainty at the moment. But if you take a look at this chart that Miles dropped, the top one is Poly Markets. Now, we know it's a betting market. It's not an official poll. So it's literally people taking bets. So take it for what it is. And you can see Poly Market, Trump odds going up and then dipping down. Look at the BTC price rising and then dipping down as the guys stop pulling their bets on Trump and they start maybe increasing their bets on Kamala. So things are definitely getting spicy out there. And then Mario Nolfo's been dropping some great election information. And that is an account you want to follow. If you want some unbiased stuff as to what is going on with the elections, follow somebody like Mario. And he's going to give you tons of information there as to what is going on. But this was The Economist. So they were predicting a Harris victory earlier today. And you can see it. I mean, there's panic in the markets everywhere here, because remember, this isn't a political show. But we got to make it clear that we know that Trump is going to pump. Trump will pump. Okay, Trump's going to pump our bags. Kamala, maybe not so much. So this de-risking you're seeing now is maybe the market thinking, hang on, maybe a Trump victory is not assured at the moment. So The Economist predicts a Harris victory. Then we saw earlier today, Trump leading Kamala in all swing states. Okay, this is a new poll. Now, this is Atlas Intel that did the poll, and they were the most accurate pollster in the 2020 election cycle. And they are saying Trump is holding a big lead in Arizona, Nevada, while also leading narrowly in North Carolina, Georgia, Michigan, Pennsylvania, and Wisconsin. So like we've said all week, there's going to be tons of volatility. The real day is Tuesday, when all the votes are going to start coming in. That is really going to be the main volatility. I mean, we're going to have vote counting for a couple of days there, most likely. And I'm sure it's not going to be without any drama. And then Zero Heads, do you concur?
I concur.
He says, now, I don't understand American politics as well as the Americans, but Zero Head says huge swing in Pennsylvania betting odds in the past hour, where Trump has gone 56-45 lead to trailing. As a reminder, whoever wins Pennsylvania wins it all. Now, the Americans, you guys will know a little bit more about this than me, but apparently that is one of the big swing states, I would assume, and there's big news behind that Pennsylvania state. And then, October is now done. We finished October 10% up, and November is now -2%. But if we follow the pattern that we looked at on Friday, where we have a green September and a green October, every time we've had that, it's resulted in a green November. Okay, so far we're on track. And I think what we're seeing now is the same pattern we saw July, August, September, October, beginning of the month, dumpage, and then some kind of recovery later on. So this is playing out pretty nicely. And then CRG, now this was much earlier today, so I think there's been way more carnage as well. He says 2.5 billion of open interest has been washed out in the pre-election correction. He's saying this is pretty healthy. So we don't want to turn super bearish here at this stage or at this time of the market, but that is relatively healthy that the open interest is getting wiped out. It's just feels less healthy when it's your positions getting absolutely rinsed, as you guys would know. And then the drama with the S&P and the 50 basis points cut, well, you can see the S&P is falling over at the moment. So this is pretty dramatic for the S&P. We can see it gap down just the other day. And we are now on our first zone of support here. It was the 5,700. We did get a bounce there last week. And now we got another level here, 5,600. So we're going to watch that one. And let's see. Elections going to cause drama. Interest rates going to cause drama. It's all happening around the corner. And then notable for me is gold has started falling over finally. So you can see on gold, we touched on this recently. We had a price printing higher, and we had our RSI printing lower highs, and that was telling us that gold was potentially going to fall over. Interesting to me, my target was 2,800. We have dipped 2,790. So we didn't quite hit the 2,810 zone that we were looking for, but you can see nice little rejection on gold. Let's see if we get one more push higher. That could give us our prime XBT short that we are looking at. Remember, on prime XBT, you can trade the crypto and CFDs and all these things, including gold and oil. You just send crypto there and you fire it up. So I'm still looking for that gold short opportunity here. I think the next pump could give us some kind of entry there. Now, just to tie up a couple of things on liquidity zones here on BTC, the 69,300 level that I mentioned to you guys, look how this ties in nicely with the liquidation heat map. Look at this beautiful level here, 69,200, that nice juicy yellow band, very thick band there. So it looks like easy pickings for the market makers if they do want to send us up into that zone. So that is why I'm interested in that region as well. And that is why it's going to be a TP zone for me if we do reach those highs. Now, BTC on the 3-day, again, not too bearish. I mean, if this was a 15-minute chart, we'd say, well, this is totally fine. And a little pullback is more than acceptable. So big level for me on BTC, 65,640 on the 3-day. That would be okay. If we do dip into that zone, we can't be too stressed if we drop into that type of region. So 65,600 is a very interesting play for me. And then a little bit lower down, we've got 60K, 60,600, those types of regions. That's going to be our banger 618 zone as well. I just want to add in my 50-day MA to this little party as well. Let's make sure it's on our daily there. Let's see where we got. Okay, yes, absolute banger there for me. So 65,600 for me, that's a big zone. We've got our 50-day, we got our 382, we got our horizontals. So nothing to stress about. 65,600 looks okay to me if we do want to go and hit those zones. So just one more thing quickly on this Sunday evening while we're talking about elections.
Good evening, everyone. Good evening,
I don't know if I want that. I don't want my bags going down with Kamala and telling me good evening every time we see her. That's going to be a problem. That's going to be a bit of a problem for me. Now, we're going to get into tons of altcoins. We're going to talk big levels here, guys. So don't panic. If you're sitting in positions, don't do anything yet. Okay, I'm going to show you big levels here that you guys can play with where you can make some smart decisions. Let's just talk dominance. Let's talk USDT dominance as well. And let's look at the altcoin chart. So first thing I want to cover here is Ben Cowan, and this is a long thread. Now, this guy's absolutely nailed it, to his credit. Okay, people often labeled him a massive bear and all these things, but to his credit, he's absolutely nailed this. He was calling a 60% dominance ages ago, more than 3 years ago. He was talking about it. Definitely worth a read for his explanation. But what he's telling us here today is that he doesn't know when the top is. Like, he's been calling the 60%, but it could potentially go higher for him. And for me on the charts, this was always a major zone for us. This was always a major reaction zone. So a part of me is still looking for my rejection. And the reason being, we've got major weeklies over here. You can see massive level here for us. And I suspect even if there is a short little fake out here, I do expect something to happen in the zone. It's just such a major area for us, the 60.4% region. So right now we're at 60.48%. And I think we are around the corner from some kind of reaction. Now, when I show you some of these altcoin charts, it's going to start making sense to you because some are sitting on big levels. Others still have a little bit more to go before we can get that nice little pump. So just be patient. We do have some levels coming up for you. And then something else to focus on when things are looking like this is USDT dominance. Now, we know Bitcoin dominance is pushing higher. That means Bitcoin is stronger than some of the altcoins. But when you see USDT dominance really start forcing its way up as well, that could give you a clue that money is exiting all the tokens and they're going into safety, which is the USDT dominance. So now this on the 3-day is pushing into a major rejection band here for me. This is a big area here where I'm also looking for some kind of rejection. You can see we've got our 50-day MA, we've got our trend, we've got our 100-day MA. So this type of zone for me looks like a rejection area. It looks like we could be pretty close to some kind of bounce there. And Ivan says invalidated portfolios everywhere. Fuck me, guys. I nearly got invalidated again on PopCat, but I kept on buying on all those levels. I'm going to take you through that PopCat situation. So just hang in there. I didn't want another PopCat invalidation. I wasn't going to let it happen. Okay, and then the others chart. Now this was a very important chart for me. And this is basically our entire crypto market, excluding the top 10. So no Bitcoin, no ETH, no Sol, no USDT, all these things. This is literally altcoin stuff. This is literally shitcoin central. And you can see this is the one thing I was concerned about over the last few weeks. And I didn't want to start losing this trend. Now, all is not lost just yet. This is still the weekly candle, and it hasn't been closed yet. If we do get a weekly candle close under the zone, for me, any pumps, we're looking deadly. Okay, any pumps here, if we get this candle close under this weekly, not a good look. Okay, to be fair, 50-day MA lost, 100-day MA lost, 200-day MA lost, rising trend lost. Okay, are you getting the picture here? Not looking great at the moment. Reverse bullish. And I must tell you, we saw this last week, and I spoke about it on the Phantom chart. I did say Phantom needs to print a nice big right shoulder here and invalidate that right shoulder, or it's looking bearish and it's a head and shoulders. I did actually speak about that, and it wasn't a good look for us. And that's why I've got the Phantom chart for us today as well. Now let's talk about ETH BTC. I'm not even going to show you guys my ETH trade at the moment. It's so fucking underwater. It's actually offensive to me. And but I am going to show you the next ETH long position if we do get a little bit more weakness. So here we go. ETH BTC on the weekly, still hanging on to major support. We can't write this off as a bounce zone just yet. We cannot say that this is not a region where we can get a bounce here. So still looking for that. If you look at it on the weekly, there's not really a major change here at the moment, in spite of what is going on. So still holding that region there for me at the moment. And then here is ETH on the daily. Absolute shit show. But if you're looking for an ETH long, okay? If you're looking for an ETH long, Raymond, 2,400, okay? This is zone number one. This was our 786, but I'm afraid if we start closing under this rising trend, I think we're just going to get a simple little process like this, maybe a little pump for ETH, but then we're going to make our way down in the next couple of weeks, and we're going to be seeing ETH around 2,200 again, and that's where we're going to be banging out long. So lost the trend. It's bearish, bro. It's super bearish at the moment. It's not a good look. And ETH for me, 2,200. Even 2,150, you can see there's a wick here that hasn't been dealt with. Now remember, when we get these wicks, look at this. There's a wick. They dealt with it. Okay, now we still haven't dealt with this guy. So, you know, we could see this getting taken out in this type of region. So I don't want to now write that off. Now that ETH has started losing this trend, not a good look for us at the moment. And then let's talk Solana. I've got a limit order sitting for Sol at 150, but I actually see I need to raise that. So we need to actually bring that one up. And I'm going to drop my Sol limit order at 153. So this was an old entry for me at Sol at 150. So I'm actually going to raise this to 153. And you can see why this makes sense to us. So you can see Sol has fallen over. What did we do? We reacted on our 160 to 164 zone. Little bounce for us. Now we are losing this area. Okay, now things are looking bearish. And this rising trend is now acting as a magnet. So for me, it's just a matter of time now for these magnets. They're going to keep pulling and keep pulling and keep pulling until we hit these types of regions. So that is how I'm playing Sol at the moment. My average entry is 132. I'm sitting down here somewhere in that region. When we ping 153, I'm going to add to my Sol position with the assumption that we're going to get some kind of bullish bounce out of Sol over there. So if you're sitting in Sol, support you can use is the low from today. So the dump, which is about 157. Alternatively, you're using 149, somewhere around there, 149, 150. That is your support that you want to be watching on Sol. You can see this is a big level for us there. So let it play out. And if you are holding spot bags, maybe have another buy at that 150 region. If it is going to stay bullish, it's most likely is going to hold this rising trend. Okay, where there's nothing we can do. If it starts closing under that trend, then we need to play.
Can we check out the rising trend on the likes?
Guys, can you see? Are the likes bullish? Are the likes bullish, right?
No, they're not bullish.
They're inverse bullish.
Top them off of support, please. Let's get this pop.
Put the likes, guys. Put the likes on support there for Ray. Let's keep Ray happy. And don't forget, guys, you must subscribe to the channel and hit the bell. Now, if you didn't know, I'm daily on Banter Plus Monday to Friday at 5:30 South Africa time. This is always a later show. This is 7:30 South Africa show. So make sure you have those notifications on so that you guys can catch me. And then let's talk Bitfunded. So I jumped into a couple of Bitfunded positions here on that dump. Now, remember, Bitfunded is a prop trading situation. So you basically get a demo account from them. You make 8%, then you make 5%. Then they give you real money to trade, and you keep 80 to 90% of the profits. What does it cost to get a Bitfunded account? Well, it's $79 for a $5,000 account, or it's $100 for a $10,000 account. Now, there are other tiers that where you can pay more, but I suggest if you are new to this type of thing, start with the smaller packages. And you can see I've grabbed Injective. I'm going to take you through that exact chart and why I bought it there. I grabbed AVAX. I'm going to take you through that exact chart and why I bought it there. Rune, exactly the same. WIF, exactly the same. And you guys are going to see how I figured out where we could buy these things on these levels, and then how we're going to play the exit. If these things start rolling over, we need to have an exit plan, and I'm going to show you all of that. So if you want to see a little bit of Bitfunded action, what you do is just go into the shopping list under the show. So it's in the show description, and you will find Bitfunded there sitting under the show for us. Everything from the indicators I use, Easy Algo to MDX Algo to all the KYC exchanges that I use, Prime XBT, WeX, Zoomex are all sitting here for you guys as well. So jump in there if you are or you do want to get involved in some Bitfunded things. Now, first one you can see is Rune. Let's talk Rune. And so absolute mess. So Rune, we had a proper bleed out. Look at that. First bounce of our reaction zone. Nice little bounce. What do we see typically when we get these types of pullbacks? When we get these original 382 bounces on solid levels here, what typically happens is this starts a downtrend for us. And you can see this was no different this time. We had a bounce there, little rejection in that zone. Then they sent it down. Reaction zone again, we got our reaction. They reacted for us again, but a tiny little one, tiny little bounce, and then a full send to the downside. So now what am I watching on Rune? You can see this 5 level is a big zone for me. This is anchored VWAP. This is 50-day moving average. This is rising trend. So this is hot zone.
Mic check, mic check. Is Dylan missing, guys? One sec. Can you guys see me? Is that a yes? Let's smash the likes in the meantime. I'm sure he'll get it sorted in a second.
Okay, I'm here. Ray, am I back? Am I back? Am I back? Okay,
Yes,
let's go.
yes,
Let's go.
yes.
Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Okay, so hot zones for me on Rune. Anything from 5 to 4.8. Big area there for me that you want to be paying attention to. If there is further downside now today, you're looking at 4.6 down to about 4.4. You can see this hot zone. I've marked this for you. We've got nice tie in here. Horizontal candles. Look at that. Banger candles over here. I've got anchored VWAP action. I've got 100-day MA. So mark this level on your charts. If this 5 to 4.8 doesn't hold for you guys, your next banger zone here, 4.6 down to 4.4 on Rune, looking for a reaction there. Okay, so watching that zone closely. Remember, all of these charts get dropped in Sniper Club directly after the show. So Sniper Club members, make sure you can check them out. Okay, make sure you check them out. Just watch the show for context, obviously, so you know exactly what I'm talking about. So Rune in a bounce zone now, lower down. If we do have a little bit more of a dip, that is what we're watching. And then I take a look at something like your oscillators. Now, for this example, I'm using MDX Algo Wavemaster, and you can see our Wavemaster on the 4-hour is starting to bottom out, but we're not quite there yet. So we are looking for something like this on Wavemaster. We want to see some kind of consolidation on a level, then a push higher. So ideally, we just want to see this oscillator start turning over here. And for me, that's going to happen either in this current region on Rune or a little bit lower. That is what you're looking for. When you see those signals, and you can use the regular RSI as well, when you see those signals, that is what you're going to be watching for. And then we should get some kind of reversal there. So nearly there, I would say for Rune, I would say it's around the corner. And then let's talk AVAX. This is another big one for us and important for you guys. If you are looking for banger zones, if you're looking for DCA zones as well, AVAX is in hot zone number 1 here, 22.5. This is a hot zone here. Let me just highlight why. We've got our big 618. We know this is a macro 618 pool. This is our August dump to our absolute highs. So 618 in play. Also, horizontals in play for us. Nice little level here for AVAX. And this is exactly why it's reacting on this level at the moment. It's a typical reaction zone. So AVAX 22.5, then a little bit lower down, 20.2 is what you need to watch. So these are the hot zones for me. I've bought AVAX here, 22.5. If we do start dipping lower, that's where I'm going again. 20.2, nice little zone there for me on AVAX. Both of them good reaction zones. Now, we can see what is going on now on AVAX, and we're going to use this as a typical example for you guys with regards to these alts. Now, we are still looking bearish on the altcoins. We can see that. Things aren't looking great at the moment. But what do we do if we get some kind of pump in the market? So the first thing you need to do is, well, especially if you are sitting in scalps at the moment, is identify where your upside reaction zones are. Where can you exit this thing? If you've caught a long now, where do you jump out? How do you make sure that you can bank some profits here? So what I suggest, pull your fibs from the highs here. For me, 14th of October to the lows, and start identifying your reaction zones. These will be your typical TP zones now if you are sitting in some of these longs. So for me, AVAX 24.3, that's TP zone 1. Then the next one for me, 25.3, and then the next one, 27. These are your danger zones on AVAX if this thing starts running to the upside. So your downside levels you've got, you know what to play with. And then upside, watch those guys over there. Those could give you rejections there, and don't hold on to any positions too long. If you've jumped into these moves now and the stuff does start moving up, remember they often come back later on. So there might be a short-term bounce, then they reverse it, and then you end up round tripping. So make sure you're grabbing a couple of profits there if these things do start bouncing for us. Another one for me was WIF, and this was a big one. WIF at 2. So I got some buys in at WIF around 2, and this was just a typical big zone for us. This is WIF on the daily. So anybody trading WIF, you can see we have entered into quite a big reaction area here. And this is not the first time we've been at the zone. You can see strong bounce there the previous time. This was October lows. Now we are back. Okay, early November. What are we hitting here? 100-day MA, big 0.5 fib, big daily level. So expecting a reaction here, and you can see there is a slight bounce at the moment on WIF, but then I do have an absolute banger for you guys at 1.8. So mark this 1.8 on your charts. Put your alarms on. This is where you get your limit orders on in case there is more weakness in the market. 1.8, watch that zone. So sometimes these things fall over very quickly when you're not paying attention. Sometimes, it happens while you're asleep. So make sure, well, for me, limit orders on WIF 1.8, especially for the spot buyers. That could be a great buy. If you are trying to grab it on leverage and things like that, just give yourself a little bit of stop loss room. So if you're buying, if you have a limit order at 1.8, maybe just allow about 2 to 2.5% freedom to the downside for a potential stop zone there. But these are typical big reaction zones on things like these altcoins, and especially WIF. So if we don't hold this 2 level, 1.8 for me, I'm expecting a nice hard reaction off that level. Okay, so yeah, looking for a bounce. Where do we get our exit plan here on WIF? If we do start pushing higher, WIF traders, if this thing starts popping now today, just be careful. 2.2 danger zone. Okay, not expecting, that this was now the bottom and we start cruising higher forever. If we do push up, 2.2 danger zone for me on WIF. Watch out there. This is short-term stuff that we can play around with. And then I did grab a couple of trades. So one of them was Popcat. Okay, I'm going to show you exactly how we got that Popcat bottom. It's the exact same principle that I'm applying to everything here. When the market is falling over, we're grabbing in some hot zones. Okay, I'll show you how to create these hot zones. And then Arweave, we were talking about Arweave last week. So for me, 13.5, Ray. Does that ring a bell? Rainbow Ray? I see Rainbow Ray is back. He's here. What do we do to get the rainbow, bro? Thank you.
We need some likes. We need some likes, guys. We need Bitcoin to pump.
He literally put the rainbow on feet. Okay, so remember last week Friday I said I like it. I'm fundamentally bullish on it at 13.5. Well, fuck me, it hit 13.5, so I'm long. 13.5, and let's see if that was the bottom for us. Then Popcat, what a little banger there, and that entry is 1.249 at the moment. And then Sol still doing its thing. Okay, so no changes there on Sol. But let's talk Popcat, and a very simple principle, and you can apply this to all your charts. When the market is falling over, when things are super bearish, the first thing you want to do is zoom out completely. Zoom out, zoom out, zoom out. And for me, when the market was turning red, my Zoomex Popcat trade was heavily underwater. What did I do? I zoomed out. I pulled my fib from the lows of the August dump to the absolute highs. I said, where is a major fib pull for me? 382. Okay, that made perfect sense. Then I tied in my 50-day moving average. Look at that. Absolute banger. 1.22, that was a hot zone for us, and that is exactly why I bought Popcat there. Okay, you can see my entry there. It's right at the bottom there. So looking for a little Poppy's bounce off that zone. Okay, so that was a typical way to grab a hot zone there when the market is falling over. And now I've zoomed in for you guys. Anybody trading Popcat at the moment, I've dialed in on the 4-hour just to give you a little picture as to where I'm going to be taking profits. So you can see this is Popcat 4-hour, and we've got a nice little candle here that I'd like to take out. So for me, profit for me on that Bybit trade is going to be around 1.42, somewhere in that vicinity. I like this little box over there. So 1.42 on Popcat, little push into that zone, then expecting a little bit more downside. If we do push into that area, then expecting a little pullback. So right now, Popcat trade is 1.12. That's going to be our big support that we're going to watch for now, and looking for a small short-term bounce. And then if we do start falling over, now that is going to rinse my Zoomex account, but if we do start falling over, next big zone for me, 1.05 down to 96. Okay, now remember, Popcat's super volatile, so we need to allow it space. We need to give it space to breathe. And, that's typically been my trading strategy on that Zoomex comp for Popcat. So anything from 1.05 down to 0.96, that's going to be our next hot zone for Popcat. And it most likely looks something like that. If we do push up, then we start making our way lower down, and that is what it's going to look like. I think that is where we get our ultimate move for Popcat. Now, it's not going to be fun, okay, if we do start dipping a little bit lower there, and I'm going to take you through the Zoomex comp. So let's just take a look here. Top 10. Popcat is a good kitty, is out of the top 10 because I'm underwater, but I'm not out. I'm building that position. And if we do get some kind of pop there, you're going to see I'm going to appear in the top 10 again. And you can see Ray, he made himself kingpin. He's flat at the moment. Bros. Okay, where's Bros? I need to talk to Bros. And Pussy coming in hot, and the pussy is hot. I don't know. Have you been trading a lot of Popcat? It was looking like this last week. I wonder if he sat out a couple of trades here at the moment. So there's our top 10. Remember, anybody trading in the Zoomex comp at the moment gets a share of the prize pool. The top 10 get to share that prize pool. Look at that. The guy coming first, $6,850 in the futures bonus is going to get sent to him here because he's coming first.
Those guys just shouldn't trade at all. He should just keep it chill.
He must just not do anything. Right. He must not do anything.
Hopefully he hit his volume and he's just chilling.
So guys, top 10 here. It's not too late. Okay, join the Zoomex comp. It's my private competition. The more people that join, the bigger the prize pool is going to be for you, and the more volume that gets traded, the bigger the prize pool. They literally want to hand you guys money. So jump into the show link in the description here. Join the Zoomex comp. You can see we've only got 84 participants. All you need to come first is 213% here, and you'll take out Bros. At the moment, if you want to take out Ray and take his 650, you need 0.02%. Okay, and Jordan, what the fuck, bro? Come on, Jordan, what's going on here? Okay, so that is that, and then here is my Popcat trade. So as this thing's been going down, I've been adding and adding and adding. So this is why I don't necessarily want to see Popcat going lower. This thing started as $1,000 position. Okay, and now look at this thing. It's $8,500. It's proper squeaky bum time here for me on PopCat at the moment. But the very frustrating thing is I had a limit order at 1.2238 and I missed this thing by an absolute cent. I mean, look at this. I absolutely just missed that limit order there. So I was waiting, licking my lips for this thing to come and hit my orders. You can see my next limit order is 1.12 on PopCat, and they're just very simple levels that I'm watching. You can see that zone there. I marked that on the charts earlier, and then we've got another nice horizontal in that region there for me. So that is where I had my orders, and if we grab that 1.223 or whatever, I think I'd be probably negative about $400 by now because it was a nice extra size. So we'll have to wait and see now if we do hit that zone. So PopCat, I'm not down and out yet. I decided I wasn't going to take the invalidation and I was just going to keep buying on all of these levels. So let's see. At some point, we'll get some kind of bottom there. Hopefully, we can hang on a little bit longer and we'll keep growing that. It could be but rinse out. Either way, you guys are going to get to watch it happen live in front of you over the next week or so if PopCat keeps falling over. So at least some good viewing for everybody to watch along the way. Now, let's talk Doge, the Department of Government Efficiency. And look, a little bit of a rollover here on Doge. And I have to admit, the big level for me on Doge, 0.1314. Okay, that for me is an absolute banger. So that is what tells me that this market, for example, should be coming down a little bit more. So we could see short-term pumps. We could see lots of short-term moves and things like that. But for me, Doge, 0.13147, that is the zone. That is where we're going to get a bang along on Doge. 200-day MA, 50-day MA, big horizontals, 618, absolute banger. And at the same time, you can see my MDX wave master turning over, telling me we need more downside. So for me, downtrend in play on the daily on Doge, looking for lower ultimately. Doesn't mean we won't get pumps and bounces in between, but I would say any nice pumps now on lots of these altcoins, good shorting opportunities or good TP opportunities if you are long. And remember, the principle is always the same. We're working fibs, we're working moving averages, VWAPs, all these things. If you're pushing up into a hot zone, that's an opportunity for a short. That is a TP zone for you guys. So if you want to learn more about these things, naturally, join me in Sniper Club. Okay, we talk about these things all the time. DJ and David and me are doing a private live session in Sniper Club directly after the show, and we cover it in Zoom. We do about an hour and a half. We tee everything up for the week. We look at setups, and we talk about all of these things. So if you want some of that action, grab the link in the description. And then Sui traders, lots of questions about Sui from you guys. And Sui just recorded higher net inflows than both Sol and ETH combined. Okay, $24.3 million. That was yesterday. That tweet was dropped, and you can see Sui relative strength wise, it's looking a lot better than the other altcoins. We've seen altcoins losing major levels here along the way. They're printing new lows. Sui is still holding the previous lows, and I'm talking about the lows from the 29th of October. So Sui traders, if you're looking for a hot zone, this is it. 1.8. I gave you guys this one last week. Look at that nice little bounce off there. 1.8 hot zone for me. Then a little bit lower down is going to be 1.64. So both of these are your zones. I'm expecting these levels to hold. These are the ones I want to see hold here. And you can see time required here. Then we're going to get that little reversal. So look out. You can see it turn bright green in this region over there before we got our reversal. Let's see if they give us something similar here. So a little bit of patience on Sui. 1.8 hot zone number 1, 1.64 hot zone number 2.
Oh no, did we lose him again? Fuck. He's getting stopped out during this session. What is going on? So he's pulling up the phantom chart on the daily, and phantom looks a little weak. Looks like it's going lower. Can you hear me, sir?
Must be my ETH trade, bro.
Oh man, that's
it's got to be ETH, bro.
blockchain.
I think the problem is mainly ETH. So, yeah, apologies, guys. Apologies. Okay. Ray, am I good now? Can you give me a thumbs up here if I'm good? Where's Rainbow Ray? There he is. Okay, guys. Okay, I'm back. Okay, Phantom on the daily, head and shoulders in play. We saw that there. We needed to we needed to bang out a new high on that right shoulder. And unfortunately, it didn't materialize. Now Phantom has lost big level number one. So it's a little bit concerning for me. And this is what's also telling me that the downside isn't complete yet in the market. The downside for me on Phantom is 0.5287. Okay, call it 0.53. For less accuracy. But 0.53 for me tells me that these alts are potentially bottoming out. Right now, Phantom is in no man's land. It's lost the level here. So it either needs to push up high now, close above 0.59 very quickly, and then send. Or for me, Phantom 0.5287. That's the most obvious zone for me that bottoms out the altcoins. Now, if we're using Phantom as a guide, we can see needs a little bit more downside, just like Doge needs more downside. Some others are sitting on levels, but for me, Phantom's telling me this market wants to dip lower. So 0.5287, watching that one for Phantom, that is going to be your major zone. So if you're sitting in positions here, hang in there. When you start closing under 0.528, when we start closing under that type of region, yes, then we are turning a little bit more bearish, and we're most likely looking at 46 for that bounce. And yes, Matt, we're going down to Goblin Town. That's exactly how it feels at the moment. So remember, guys, these moments, okay? Early October, we had this. Early September, early August, early July, okay? No difference here. Okay, let's just make sure we've learned something from October. We've learned something from September and August. And you make sure you save your dry powder and you're watching these big levels here, because we know when the market snaps back, it snaps back quickly, and we can take advantage of a lot of those moves. So hot zones for me, Phantom 0.5287, 0.465. Those I want to see hold in the next couple of hours. Then Peppy as well also tells me we need to come a little bit lower. So I've got a big level on Peppy. We are moving into it at the moment. Multiple zeros, 7543 is what I want to see on Peppy. And that would make sense on the daily. Look at this. We've got a nice rising trend here on Peppy. So we are nearly in our hot zone. But for me, this is telling me we need one more dip on these alts, one more flush into that zone should give us our move on Peppy. So multiple zeros, 7543. That could be a long play. If you guys want to sit and just wait for this to play out, it could happen today. Or if we do get a pump, it might come back at a later stage. So you could see a situation if it starts moving now. Let's say the market starts ripping for whatever reason, then I do expect we get short opportunities and we get Peppy in this point before the bottom is in on the market. So multiple zeros, 7543, hot zone there for me. You can see Wavemaster is nearly bottomed out there, maybe just a little up down here on this Wavemaster. Then I think we get some kind of push there. So watch that one on Peppy. And then the same GRT traders, no changes here as well. Looks the same as Peppy. One more sweat out. I think we are very close here to a bottom on GRT, and that is 0.1282. 0.1282. What could that look like if we start pushing up before that? I still think we're going to get a bounce off that region. If we do start dipping lower, then the zone for me is 0.111. So right now for me, I think there's a long opportunity coming. 0.1280, 0.1280 on GRT. We are almost there. Okay, almost in the zone there for me. Little bit lower, 0.11. Those are the hot zones there. Those are the zones you want to test. And if you're trying to build a position, well, these could be two areas where you could start adding a little bit to your trades and maybe start growing a position. I'd like to see one of these be the bottom of this move now for GRT. And then another one I've got is Say, a couple of questions for Say in Sniper Club earlier today. And the guys were asking for levels. And Say, look at this, absolute perfection so far. Dropping into rising trend, dropping into 618, dropping into horizontal zone. So we know this is a typical reaction area for us on these altcoins. You can see we've got tie in here with these horizontals. This whole region here for me is a zone of interest here on Say. So anything from 0.333 down to 0.316. 315. That whole zone for me looks like a nice little bounce area there on Say. If the market capitulates and we start dropping even lower, I've got an absolute banger for you guys. So mark this one on your chart, set your alarms. That is a hot zone. 0.27 down to 0.26. That's an absolute banger as well on say. If we go straight there now today, in the next 24 hours, I expect quite a hard bounce from say at 0.27. So watch that zone. For me, potential long coming here, 0.3239 on say 0.333, those type of levels. Nice little zone so far. If the market's going to hold, we could see a nice short-term bounce there on that guy. And then Seth reminding everybody, all the render traders out there, he's saying not easy to buy when a token is consolidating. That is the point. The market isn't making it easy on you. And he's basically super bullish on render at the moment. Now, he was talking, this must have been a little bit earlier today because we've subsequently dropped a little bit lower, but I've got an entry zone for you. So render traders, this is actually looking very, very interesting to me. Look at this wave master here at the bottom, and we've got a couple of green prints here. We can see diversion coming here and divergence, and then we've also got a little blue dot print here as well, telling us we are pushing hard now into these zones. So render for me, I think the end is near. So it's not near the token. I literally think the end of this dumpage is around the corner. So 4.14. Nice little zone there for me on render, looking for a bounce from that region. That could be a banger here for us before we get maybe a little rejection. Alternatively, I've got a macro 618 pool here for you guys. It's 3 to 3.4, an absolute banger there on render. So no need to panic just yet. 4.14, watch that one as your big support now. Look for some kind of trade in this region here, and then a little bit lower down, 3.44. That is a big zone for me, but I think the end is close. On render, I think at some point we are going to eventually get our move. Render will come alive, and just that macro fib pool I spoke about, it's not a 618, it's a 786, and we haven't hit that one yet. Look at that. Our previous dump, we didn't touch it. So what I would suggest here, could have a sneaky little limit order here, 3.17. I expect if it hits that thing, it's going to be an absolute rocket off that thing. So that thing will come with a big capitulation candle, 3.17. If it hits that, I expect a rocket off that level there on render. So watch that one. Then near traders, we are nearly there. The near is near. Okay, and we almost there. So 3.44. Okay, 3.44 on near. I'm expecting a reaction there. You can see this looks like Phantom. It looks like Doge. It looks like GRT. It looks like Peppy. They all just got to drop a little bit lower. So we're not quite there yet. Want to have one more little flush in the market here. That for me is going to be a potential bottom on near. So 3.44, and then lower down. Watch this wick. These wicks can always come into contention. So I just want to highlight this for you. If we do miss that zone, you do have this wick that you need to pay attention to. 3.13, 3.13, and 3.43. Both of those hot zones for me on near. I suspect one of those is going to be the bottom for you. Look at this daily MDX Wave Master also pushing out on the daily. Let's take a look on the 12-hour. When you're ready. It's coming. Okay, when it decides to come back, we'll go back to near. I've got one more token for you. Here it is. Wave Master on the 12-hour. You can see bottoming out a little bit there as well. Let's take a look on the 8-hour. Bottoming out as well on the 8-hour, so it's giving us a sign. Okay, things are getting close. Okay, a little bit of divergence there on the 8-hour. Let's see the 4-hour. Mark, good morning to you, sir. You must be in Australia, I assume. It's late here. It's 8:30 here where I am. And look at that. Very green on the 4-hour as well. So I think the signs are there, and the signs are there on quite a few tokens at the moment that these things are busy resetting. Okay, so nice flush out on the weekend. Not nice if you're in the positions. It hurts, but it does look like opportunity. So watching a lot of these levels like near, I've given you 2 levels. I've given you multiple levels on a lot of these tokens. Let's talk Injective quickly as well. And Injective actually bang on the button here, 15.96. That was our 786 fib play that we were watching. So Injective traders, your first level of support, 15.96. You can see we are in a reaction zone. If Injective moves higher, look for that rejection. 18.3. Look out, 18.3. That could be an opportunity then to short it, and then maybe we're going to get that 14 out of Injective. So the same principle as we had previously. We can see our rising trend in play. What did we do? We dumped hard. We pumped into it, rejected, and dumped. Now we're looking for the same thing. Pump into that trend and send it a little bit lower. So that could be a nice play for injective traders. So something to look forward to. Call it 18.2. Big rejection zone there on injective. I'm going to highlight this one for you. Watch out that region, 18.2. If we do pump higher, key support, 15.96. And then a big level here for you guys, 14.5. Okay, nice little levels there. And higher lows from Zen says higher lows. Is this a good thing, Zen? Are you sending us back? And are they going to send us absolutely to the depths of hell? Okay, it feels like it, because here's Arweave on a major weekly level. I mean, this is a serious level here for Arweave. This is weekly candles here. I've got tons of weeklies here. I've got a macro 786 fib pool, okay? And they're putting us under pressure here on Arweave. But I bought on this level because this is a level we've been watching for a very long time, and it made sense to me. I want to highlight one more zone for you guys. If we do get another wick lower on Arweave, you can see we've got tons of candles here. Bang, okay, 10.94. 10.94 is your next level. So if you're trying to build an Arweave position, it's here. 13.5, big zone here for me. 10.94, another zone of interest. So there is a little bit of a sweat out lower down. Depends how you want to play this thing. If you're building spot bags, you're looking at about another, Raymond, 16% still on Arweave. So remember, these weekly candles can be quite brutal. It's going to be a rough ride, bro. It's gonna be a rough ride. Okay, so guys, that's it. Okay, that's a wrap from me. Now we've had a proper look at these charts. Remember, when the market's falling over, your best bet, always zoom out. Go back to daily time frames. Go back to 12-hour time frames. Stop staring at the 15 minutes and things like that. Wait till we hit our big zones, then bang out the 15 minutes, the 1 hours. Then you start looking for trend breaks. You look for consolidation, and you look for good reactions in those zones. Once you get trend breaks off those major areas, that's normally confirmation that there's going to be a nice little reversal. And then use your oscillators, whatever you got. I mean, you can see I'm using MDX Wavemaster there at the bottom, but you can also use the stochastics. You can use a regular RSI as well on the 1 hour. That often gives you a nice reversal signal too. But look, be safe out there. It's been a rough weekend. Okay, watch these things. If you are in 2 or 3 altcoin longs, maybe more, make sure you close some. If there's a pump, leave a couple open that you can add to in case the market keeps ripping. But don't have a situation where you leave all of them open and they round trip you and they send you even lower and start banging out stops, because then we start looking at those next levels lower down. So be disciplined out there. Okay, guys, Sniper Club guys, we'll see you in 30 minutes on the live Zoom channel. Catch you guys later.
Hey guys, drop your comments and drop your coins after the show in the comments, please.
Right, did you get rinsed again?
To see. Kind of, this Bitcoin long is fucking me up. Getting rinsed here.
I can't believe you're getting rinsed, bro.